And for the third time today, for those of you watching live, good afternoon, boys and girls, and thank you very much for tuning in to episode 77 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise. This is coming at you live from YouTube. Just to put everybody in the picture, this is the third of the live videos, the third and the final of the live videos that I've done today. So thank you very much to those of you who are tuning in live, but of course, the vast majority of you watch these videos as a recording, so thank you very much for doing that as well. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already done so. Please tell as many people as possible about the channel. Please give me hearts, thumbs up, leave comments, questions. Consider supporting my work on Ko-fi. You will find the descriptions below. Oh, and we've got comments coming, including one person saying never warmed up to any perfumes from this brand. Please keep the comments coming. I will get to them in due course. What are these guys? Well, until very recently, these 5 perfumes here were called the Florence exclusives from Lush. If you go back to my blog, to persolaise.com, to sort of round about November, December 2019 time, you will see that there was a little bit of coverage of the launch of a shop in Florence, a Lush shop dedicated purely to perfume. They call it the Perfume Library, and now that concept has rolled out across a few other places. There's one in London. The Florence one I don't think was the first one, but the reason why that one was noteworthy was because they made some perfumes that were exclusive to the Florence branch, to tie in with the fact that Florence was so closely associated with the Renaissance, and they wanted to sort of go back to the Renaissance ideals of perfumery and sort of conjure up the Renaissance in perfume. I should have checked my notes, but I'm pretty sure that the Lush perfumer at the moment is a woman called Emma Dick. I hope please don't hold it against me if I'm wrong. If I am wrong, I will say so in the video description. These perfumes are now a little bit more widely available. I think they're available on the Lush website. I don't know if Lush are still shipping at this moment in time, but hopefully we are not far away from a time when they will. And the 5 exclusives that were launched for Florence and then were rolled out, as you can see, are Confetti, Sappho, Nero, Fresh As, and Frangipani. I don't know if we'll have time to smell all of them right now. I know what my favorite one is, and I think those of you who follow the blog and follow me on Instagram will know what my favorite one is as well. I don't propose to smell all 5 because I think that would take a little bit too long, but I will tell you what they're meant to be. And I see that somebody, actually let's do comments now while we're at it. Hello, says Fabi, never warmed up to any Lush perfume piece. I do like a lot of them, I have to say. I do like a lot of them, and I suppose this is a good sort of moment to go off on a bit of a tangent. What I like about them is also, in a weird kind of way, something that's a sort of a drawback of theirs. You know, it's like their shortcomings are also their main assets. There is something rough and ready about them. There is something that isn't overly fussy about them. You know, like if you sort of tie a bow and you keep messing with it and messing with it and messing with it, and actually it sort of doesn't look like a bow anymore, and you've completely ruined it. You don't really get that sense in Lush perfumes. There's something wonderfully free-spirited about how some of them are composed. I'm sure they are composed in a very serious and disciplined way, but I get this feeling of the perfumers just going, yeah, let's throw in a bit of this, let's throw in a bit of that, yeah, it smells amazing, and let's not finesse it too much, because if we finesse it, then we may actually lose some of the charm. Some of the most finessed perfumes, I guess, for instance, are Chanel perfumes. You know, I can't ever imagine a Chanel perfume being a Lush perfume and vice versa, and so they shouldn't. But there are some in the range that I really adore. I really like their Orange Blossom. I really love the smell of Freedom. Of course, Breath of God is very highly regarded. I've never been a huge fan of that myself, but I do like it. Curbside Violet, lots and lots of good scents. And they're not actually that cheap. You know, per milliliter, in some cases, you are paying a lot for these guys. And I think the idea was that they would make small bottles so that you wouldn't have to splash out too much cash in one go, but you would be able to go home with some perfume, which I guess is fair enough. And wow, okay, lots of comments here. Let's see what people think of this. I'm going to be able to watch all three. This is great, says Keith. Thank you very much. That's nice. Andy says, my first one live at last. Hello from Edinburgh. Well, hello to you as well. I own many Lush perfumes, says Keith, and I love this brand. Yeah, and I've got a lot of time for them. Q George says, curious about the pine one called Fresh as in Fresh As ... We'll smell that one then. Lynn says hello again. Keith says, I was a little shocked at the price of some of the ones that were recently released in Canada. Oh, yeah. Some of them are right up there in terms of price. Ashfaq says, I still regret not trying anything from Lush, even though I spent a decade in the UK. We even had a shop nearby. Well, maybe a Lush shop will come to you. David says, thank you for these videos amidst this crisis. It's a breath of fresh air. That's very nice to say. Thank you very much. I think that's the reason why I'm going, because I mean, actually, I'm sort of getting as much from them, hopefully, as you are from them, because to me, it's a little bit of normality and a bit of interaction and a sort of sense that most people are still okay in the world. Abdel Sarkis says, hello from Puerto Rico. Fantastic. Aperol Spritz. I was in Florence last November when the perfume library was open. Out of the 5, I adore Confetti. Okay. Lynn says, less refined, more slapdash. Yeah, but in a good way. Gino says, I can't get myself to enter their stores, too overwhelming. I know what you mean. The bath bombs do overwhelm things, but maybe one day soon, somewhere near you, there will be one of their perfume-only shops. Ashfaq says, it's the soap smell from around the shop that put me off. Also had no idea about their perfume line. Aperol Spritz says, Lush is anything but restrained, totally. Hugh George, Lush Frangs are always a kind of fun fragrance to me. Yes, they're fun-loving, aren't they? Frederick says, I used to work at Lush and was quite familiar with their perfumes, not the newer ones though. My favourite is probably Orange Blossom, which is back again. I really love their Orange Blossom, really love their Orange Blossom. And he says, the only one I have is Exhale in oil form. It's rather medicinal but kind of amazing. Totally agree. I have it in oil form as well. Haven't tried anything from Lush, says Abdel Sarkis. Lolita, hello again from France. Rachel is still enthusiastic. You just keep going, Rachel. Ilias says, hey, from Greece. Finally caught you live. Yasu Ilia. Lolita, please can you do a review about Bulgari Gold Air perfume, the yellowish one? I will try. I haven't got it though. David says their perfumes are very expensive. They can be. And Lynn, I really like the idea of small bottles because creating a collection is more likely. And yes, and that kind of goes back to what I was saying in the earlier video about the sort of audience we are. We want things in smaller bottles because we want to have lots of them. And Nick, hello from Greece. Hello to you as well. Let's smell the one that Q George mentioned, the one which is called Fresh As in Fresh As followed by Rude Word. And I think the perfumer wanted to call it Fresh As Rude Word, but the people at Lush quite rightly put her in her place and said, no, we are not going to have a perfume called that. So this is called Fresh As. Here we go. Fresh As from Lush. Like I said, maybe I'll just do this one and the one that's my favourite. I know when there is a Lush store in a mall as soon as I walk in the door. Yeah, absolutely. You can just find them, can't you? And Subway as well. Subway, that very, very distinctive sweet bread. So, as Q George has already told us, this is instant pine tree. But what I find interesting about this one each time I smell it, and I've worn it a couple of times already now, it's instant pine tree. The sounds your mic makes are so ASMR, says Nick. I have no idea what sound is my mic making. Let me move it up a little bit. Would that be better? Somebody needs to tell me, because of course I have no concept of how that, because I'm not hearing anything. I wonder if is it this? Is it the chair? Abdul says, I have a shop nearby, but the employees are so insistent. Really? I found Lush staff to be amongst the best retail staff. They're so well trained. Umberto says better. I suppose you mean the sound. You guys need to tell me about stuff like that, because I have no way of knowing if things are, crackly, noisy. So just feel free to let me know. So what's interesting about this is that even though it's instant pine tree, it's not instant Christmas. And I guess maybe that's because we need a few other things to spell Christmas. We need maybe things like cinnamon, potpourri, a bit of sweetness. This is the summer, sorry, the forest maybe on a bright summer's day. There's nothing wintry or cocooning or enveloping about this. This is, you know, brace yourself. We are going to hit the day with full energy. You have big hands, or is it the camera? I don't think I have big hands. It probably is the, see, let's not talk about that. And I think that's what I admire about this one. I think the pininess starts getting a little bit too much for me. It starts getting a little bit going in the sort of region of paint stripper. I'm, you know, do not get me wrong. I'm not saying it smells of paint stripper, but it starts heading into that kind of harsh territory. But well done to Lush almost for doing that, because, you know, the other pine, the sort of quintessential pine fragrance for me is the Fille en Aiguille from Serge Lutens. But even that can't stop itself from getting sweeter, you know, sort of vanillic in the base. This is fresh, you know, piercing pine needles coming at you, maybe almost something a bit marine, definitely something citrusy, and it works for what it is. For some reason you're commenting a lot about this one, which is fantastic, but I wonder why this one has got you to comment so much. Rachel says, love a good swear, but can't bear the current fashion of making sweary names. It's very teenage. Yes, I agree. I think it's a bit... And you know, you sort of chuckle at something like that once, but when you have to keep seeing it again and again and again on a bottle, the novelty really, really quickly wears off, I think. Christine says, I always wonder if the sales assistants ever get the Lush smell out of their clothes. We should ask them. Andy says, really into pine at the moment, looking for something in between Pinot Sylvestre and Granville. In between... I mean money. Okay, hang on. David says, Lush Gorilla perfumes, in my opinion, don't really live up to the price tag. Fair enough. At least as far as price per milliliter goes, their performance isn't the greatest either. Ashfaq says, your favourite name from Serge Lutens, yeah. Emma says, why was Granville discontinued? I eke out drops at this stage. That is the first thing that I actually thought when somebody mentioned that it's been discontinued. Watching from Edinburgh says S. Murphy. Thank you very much indeed. Right, let's see what Lush themselves have to say about this one. I can tell you that they don't have a huge amount to say about it. Where are we? Is it this one? Yes. Welcome to the wilderness, it says, with bracing fir needle absolute and hints of balsamic benzoin resinoid, you'll soon be feeling fresh as... ... Revitalizing fir and tagette oil mingle in each vivid spritz to surround you with the bracing draw of nature. If any scent can embody the freshest of forests, snapping sticks underfoot, and the warmth of a snuggly scarf, then this is it. I don't know about warmth of a scarf anyway. You'll love this if you like herbaceous fir. Karma perfume. Really? You'll like this if you like Karma? I don't know. And refreshing forest walks. Fair enough. The other three that I won't smell now, I'll tell you quickly what they are because I'll focus on my favourite one. Confetti, they call an infatuating floral perfume. Delicate violet leaf absolute blossoms with sensual rose, while smoky sandalwood oil marks the final chapter. Everlasting love and comfort, and you will love this, they say, if you like hopelessly romantic rose perfumes. I enjoyed it, you know, maybe not going to make my top 10 list of top 10 of the year, but it was fine. Then we've got Nero, which is the Neroli. That I did quite like, actually. A royal favourite blended with an elevating wealth of zesty bergamot and neroli. Bursts of floral neroli meet smouldering petitgrain oil, creating a fresh and woody fragrance. This perfume was inspired by the origins of the name neroli. One theory suggests it arose from Emperor Nero, an avid perfume and fragrant flower enthusiast. Another surmises it stemmed from a much-loved French noblewoman named Anne-Marie, Princess of Nerola, renowned for adorning her signature gloves and bathwater with uplifting neroli oil. That is probably my second favourite, actually, if I had to choose a second favourite. And then there's Frangipani, inspired by a wildly sweet and spicy fragrance for perfuming gloves, originally created by the mythical Roman noble, the Marquis of Frangipani. You can see how the Renaissance angle is running through all of them. Lavish sandalwood and scrumptiously nutty almond oil lean intoxicatingly into Frangipani florals before a Moorish and smoky guaiac wood finish. So you have worked out that the one I am calling my favourite is Sappho, and I really, really like that one. We'll smell it in a sec. Let's see what comments I've missed. Ilias says, I think my favourite coniferous scent is Rockabar. Do you consider this Lush creation a coniferous fresh one? I suppose in a word I would have to say yes, without sort of overthinking it too much. Lolita says, is this brand available in France? Certainly there are Lush shops in France, not a huge amount. I don't know if they stock their perfumes. Stefan says, Edinburgh gets their own Chanel fragrance. Hang on, I'm being slow. Why? Oh, I'm really being slow here, aren't I? Somebody needs to explain it to me. Emma says, duh, now I get it. I was thinking Sappho, Nero Frangipani Confetti Fresh was a bit long, but sadly plausible as a perfume. Oh, sorry, you mean from the video description. Sorry. No. I would love them to do a perfume, though, called Sappho, Nero Frangipani Confetti Fresh As. Rachel says, love Lockabau. Goutal Nuit Toilette is piney for me. Yes, I remember that one, actually. I don't think that's around anymore. Aperol Spritz says, Sappho and Nero come with a hefty price tag, and that could be before you... because of the amount of oil in them. Keith says, before you end this video, not yet, we're going to smell Sappho, I would like to thank you for adding a bit of joy to my day during these trying times. Well, do you know what? You're very, very welcome. It feels like it's the least I can do, but I also need to thank you because just the fact that we are still able to do this and interact in this way, literally, from across the world, means very much to me as well. But thank you for taking the time to say that. I do appreciate that. Sappho was really, really beautiful. That's lovely, says Rachel. Likewise, I guess you mean Keith's comment, right? As opposed to the Rockabar. Frederick says there are quite a lot dense fragrances from Lush. They like to use a lot of vanilla and tonka. Umberto says likewise. Yes, let's all give each other a sort of virtual hug. We need to support each other as much as we possibly can during these times. This is Sappho from already. This probably says. I guess it's not surprising that this is my favourite because I think this is the one that's most perfume lovers' favourite because it's the one that's got the most retro feel. It's really, really good, especially the opening. It's like diving into some old Guerlains. It's probably the most refined of these five, and because it's a bit like diving into some of the old Guerlains, it also makes me think of Andy Towers' work. There's something beautifully, yes, you brighten the day immensely, says Christine. That's very, very kind. I hope I do. That is the idea. Even with my ASMR mic noises, I suppose, is that really loud then in your ears? Good. Really, really beautiful powdery opening, sort of slightly aldehydic powdery opening, lipsticky violet notes. Really, really gorgeous iris note, but not too dry, not too austere, bolstered by lots of florals. This is, I was going to say this is Lush, but it is Lush. It's the most opulent of the five, I think. The most elegant. This is getting dressed up for a really, really swanky party, and you want to look your best, and you do your hair and you choose the outfit very, very well, very carefully. And it's unashamedly retro, but it doesn't feel too old-fashioned either. Maybe there's something about the translucency that makes it feel modern. It works really, really well on skin. So I'll definitely do a blotter update on this one as well. I've worn this a lot, and I've really, really enjoyed it. A kind of honey inflection to it as well. This is the one where when if I've sprayed it and I walk past Madame Persolaise, will go, what's that? It's a head turner, a bit of a showstopper. I'll look at comments before we finish, but I just want to tell you what Lush say about this scent. Where are we? Fell in love with a girl, well, that's the Sappho reference. Bittersweet and inescapable, this ode to a striking poetess, the 10th muse, will shake your senses. Classical orris entwines with carnal jasmine to enchant deep desires. You'll love this if you like powdery vanilla scents, and I love this, made me laugh as well. It says, you'll love this if you like sunny sapphic sensuality on a Greek island. Who doesn't, right? And very quickly then, let's see what comments I've missed. April Spritz says, do you know anything about the perfumer Emma Dick for these exclusives? No, apart from the fact that she is the Lush perfumer. I think if you search on YouTube, there is an interview with her that Lush have put up. But beyond that, I know nothing. Lalita says, I know you love the Fille en Aiguille from Serge Lutens, but what do you think about La Nuit de Cellophane, because it's my favourite with Fleur d'Oranger from the whole collection of Serge Lutens. I can't remember if there's anything on my blog about those, but I do like their Orange Blossom. Nick says, sounds like Missia. Okay, interesting question comparison. That Missia from Chanel is way more lipstick violet. This one definitely goes, this one I think is more serious, it's less girly, and definitely heads more in the territory of the iris. So well done for mentioning that, but no, they are different. Bill says, just check the price, 95 euros for 30 mils. Is that right? Yeah, no, they're expensive. They're expensive. But I think a lot has gone into them, especially this one. I mean, you can smell a lot of richness. So, thank you for putting up with the 3 videos we've done today. For those of you who didn't watch the first 2 and would like to know what they are, I'll probably link to them below. We did one on the new Rose Prick from Tom Ford, and then we did another one on the 2 new releases from Eccentric Molecules. I will be back as soon as possible with more videos. And also, please keep your ideas coming. I'm really appreciating them and finding them helpful. Ideas for more top 10 videos, you know, the ones where I sort of do either top 5s or top 10s, best ofs. I am making a note of every single idea that is coming through, and I would like to do some more of those videos because you seem to enjoy those. Certainly I get a lot of interaction on those, so keep those ideas coming. Stay safe, look after yourselves, and see you again soon. Take care. Bye.